So hello everybody, it is raining outside today, so I have decided to take the time to restore this beautiful old bear who came to me to be restored. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is open up his back, because I need to get to these joints here, because as you can see they're very, very flimsy and he needs the joints to be put back in again and have new cotter pins, and so his legs sit back together like they should. So if we turn him over, it's a little bit different to horses today, so we're going to open him up. I haven't got the camera on me, just so you can see what I'm doing with him. So I'll very gently open him. So all the work on a teddy bear is done through its back or through its tummy. Sometimes they're stitched up for their tummy, but 9 times out of 10 it's through their back. So you have the hole, and inside the hole you reach all of the joints to be able to put the bear together. So a traditional jointed bear is normally sewn up on his back. That's where he's finished. So we're going to gently open him up and get rid of all of the old thread. What I love about this is you can see what colour he once was. So he was a really bright yellow. You can just make it out there. It feels strange not being out doing the horses. They're having a duvet day today because it is really, really raining. So we did them all this morning and have left them be. Go out and give them some lunch later. Right, okay. So we've got rid of all of this. You have to be very careful because these fabric's very, very old, and what you don't want to do is rip it. Okay, so here you can see we've exposed his wood wall. So let's see what little treasures are in there. So we're going to take this out, and to do that, you very gently remove it, and you will see it's shaped like him. So this will go back in him. I've spoken to his owner, and we're going to put a small amount of Kapok in him as well, just to soften this, because this is very, very hard and can actually do a bit of damage to them as they get older, because as their fabric starts to get more and more, what's the word? Brittle. It is almost brittle. I think that's the best way to describe it. When the wood wool itself sort of bends or the bear gets moved, it can make little splinters. And I get splinters from this just doing the work with the bears, so I get them in my hands. So you can imagine once it pokes a hole through the fabric, it can then start to cause a bit of damage. So look here, he has a growler, which has seen better days. Well, you can replace that. I have a new one. Unfortunately, that is not going to be fixable, but you can see here. So this would have once been bellows. Yeah, they're very much gone. So these are bellows. And this is the weight for the growler, and here is the little reed that, as the bellow closes and the air blows out through the reed, and the bear will then make a sound like, if I can find one here, I have one about. I have his new one somewhere. So he'll have his sound back. If that'll fit on there. No, it won't. But so he'll have that put in. Right, let's keep going and see what we've got. See, now this is really interesting. A lot of these old bears, stuffing is, it's quite an expensive thing. So they used to sometimes stuff them, which is very handy for a teddy bear restorer, with their own fabric. So if you look here, we have his own fabric in there. This is all the offcuts from when he was made, which is fantastic, because this, as you can see, there's quite a lot of it as well, is the colour he would have originally been. How amazing is that? Look at all the cutouts, all the shapes to create the bear is there. So this here, obviously if he's got a hole or anything in him, I can use this to put it, to close the hole back up. I mean, there will be a slight difference in colour. Cool, there's lots in here. Oh, and there's other bears as well, look at that. There's a blue bear in there. And there's a pink bear in there. Goodness me, little bear, you really are full of treasures. Well, look at that. So he's got all these beautiful offcuts. How amazing. See, they tell their own story. So, right, let's have a look. Let's see what we've got in here. Okay. So you can just make out his joints here. So these are his leg joints. And here are his arm joints. At the bottom here is his neck joint and his head, or his head to hasn't really got a neck. But so what we're going to do is we're going to have to take all of these off, and I think we're going to have to replace the joints because these are cardboard joints and they've been bent over the years. So we will take these off and we'll take him apart so he'll be in different sections, and then we can put him back together again as we go over each individual limb. So each limb we'll go over, we'll make sure there's no damage. Here, for example, he's got a bend, so we're going to have to go through the stuffing in this and then refill him. Just to say though, if you're doing bear restoration yourself, this bear is owned by a lovely person who contacted me, and we just want to restore him for him to survive, for him to go on for future generations. She's not worried about monetary value. If you have a bear that is of monetary value, you've got to be very, very careful about how you go about restoring it, because you obviously don't want to be, damaging any of what makes it value and gives it its value. So if we just take these off, I need my pliers, which are here. See, these have seized and gone very, very rusty. So you just move it back and forth. There you go, and it snaps off as easy as that. Pop it with that. There you go. Okay, so that joint, I think we'll probably be able to use that one again, because the idea is to give him back as much of his original body. We don't want to change it unless we absolutely have to. And we need to get into this because, as you can see, he's got a very damaged arm. So we'll just take, at the moment, we're just going to take him apart, and then we'll go for the rest of it after. So this joint here is going to need replacing because, as you can see, it's very, very bent. So we'll get this one off. So as you can see, we have our 4 limbs, our body and our head, and every part of him requires a little bit of work. So we're going to start with his arms here, and we're just going to work out how they've been stitched up. And it's probably, I think here, this little nip there, and then it will open a hole, and then we'll be able to see what's inside his arms. So the idea is that we're going to restuff his arms, because we'll just add some stuff into his arms, because there is, if you look, a gap here where the stuffing has moved down, so the arm doesn't sit straight anymore, and it's not as strong as it should be. And all this bend on the material, you can't really see it on the camera, but it's already started to create a weak point. So we need to stuff that back up again and make him nice and strong. So if we just gently open him up here, just gently find his little hole, then we can see what his arms are stuffed with. And then we will hopefully be able to give him a little bit more stuffing. So what I'm doing now is very gently removing his joint, which has been pushed in through this hole, and then obviously attached to his body. So there's his original joint. And what we'll do is we'll be able to hopefully use the joint again. That feels like it's in good condition. And he's also got his tiny little washer here, which I'm hoping again I can put that back in with the new cotter pin, so he keeps his identity. Right, now let's see what's in here. This doesn't feel like it's in very good condition, and it doesn't smell like it's very good either. So if I very gently pull this out. Joints are empty and taken out. You can see what the problem was. Here is his joint itself, and here is the cotter pin and the middle of the joint. So what's happened, where the washer has over the years spent lots of time putting pressure on the middle of the actual joint itself, they've just come away. So that's why he's got a nice big hole, and that's why his legs were laying out rather than nice and tight against his body. So we'll be giving him some new joints, new cotter pins, and also we're going to be replacing his pads, because this linen here has it's worn away to nothing. There is absolutely nothing there. It's almost transparent. There's barely any strength in it at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all of his paw pads, and I'm going to use wool felt, because that will give him a little bit, they'll last for a lot longer rather than this linen cotton that he's got at the moment. And now we need to look at his head. So as you can see, his head is in a pretty bad way. We've nearly lost an ear, but it's still there, so that's a really good thing. So we can obviously pop that back on. He's lost an eye, so I've got him some replacement eyes. This one, unfortunately, is in quite a bad way. So what I will do is when I have replaced his eye, this one will go back in his tummy. So it will stay with him forever, but he'll have a set of new eyes, new glass eyes that match this one. And I think his nose is in quite good condition. So hopefully once we stuff his face out, his nose will be okay. And we can either touch up it to give it a bit more colour back, or we'll leave it. But I'll speak to his owner about that, so we know where to go with that one. But for now, we just need to empty his head. We need to close up this hole. We need to see what's going on inside. And then we need to get on with giving him some new paw pads. So let's open him up and see what we've got. Okay, so we've got one dissected bear. He's being taken apart now. I've got all of his little goodies on this tray, and we're going to be replacing a number of those. His head here, I'm going to be restuffing with a softer wood wool and some kapok to give him back his shape, and to obviously make his head still as hard as it was, because it was, as you saw, full of wood wool, but it is starting to damage him, like I said before. So we're going to restuff his head, give him his new eyes, stitch back on his ear, put in a new joint in his neck, which Nick will make for me. And yeah, and then we're going to sit him on the table so he can watch me put the rest of his body back together again. And I like that. I think when they're looking on, it gives, you know, a little bit of magic. So we're going to do his head first, and you guys are going to do it with me. So let's get on with it.
I've been assigned a very important job. Jenny brought these cotter pins and these washers, which are to make the joints on the teddy bear, or to go with the joints, which I make, which are the round discs, and then these go through the round discs, and then Jenny pulls them back to give them those nice joints. But they sent Jenny the big ones of these cotter pins and the washers, which are way too small, so they won't go through. My job is to, I'm going to drill out or enlarge the holes in the middle so they work. The only downside is there's about 250 of them, so I think I'll just do a little bit at a time as I cut the other discs. But yeah, so let's get on with it. the teddy bear factory or teddy bear restoration can continue. My job is in the machining department, so I make the discs and I look after the sewing machines and if there's stuff like that, but I also fix little problems like this. It's lovely just to be part of it. It's a really rewarding process, and Jenny is so gifted, and I think she turns out some of the most lovely bears I've ever seen. And I always remember when I was growing up, my little teddy bear, and they are very, very special. And to have people's teddy bears that they've loved all their lives and mean so much, and to put them in our care and then to be able to turn them around is really, really, it's something that's really cool, and it's just something that Jenny picked up, and she's really, really done so well at it. So I'm very grateful to be a part of it, and everyone has their part in the production line. So I'm going to take these back in and Jenny can carry on. See you soon.
day now. Nick has been out and he has fed all of the horses. He also saved the day by making my washers slightly bigger so that my cotter pins could fit, so I can put the joints back in this beautiful bear, so he's ready to go home. He's been amazing, an absolute joy to work with. He's got his new little felt pads, his head is all complete, so now it's just a matter of putting everything back together again, restuffing him, putting his lovely little growler back in and giving him back his voice, and then he can go home. So he's been an absolute delight, and this is one of those things that, what a lovely afternoon I've had, and how lucky am I to be able to spend my time in here and share it with you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's been a little bit different because you're used to seeing the horses and everything else that we get up to, but this is a massive part of what we do, because this, before Patreon and before the YouTube, was what funded the horses, along with Nick working really, really hard. These bears, every bear that I made, every bear that I restored, the money went straight into the charity account to fund the horses. So they were a fundamental part of pushing the charity forward. So I really do feel that the bears have a massive place in our heart and a huge place for the legends. So this is what I do aside from the horses. It is my passion. I spend hours in here. If I'm not restoring bears, I'm restoring vintage toys. And yeah, it's just a really, really special thing to be able to do. Bit quirky, bit odd, but that's just me. And you're probably starting to realise now I'm a little bit of an odd bod, but I love it. So who can complain when you can spend an afternoon in such a lovely environment and with such a special and much loved guest, really, because he's come here to be, you know, made better, and he's going to go home, and I hope his owner will be very, very happy. So thank you very much for watching, and tomorrow we are back out with the horses. So yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks to say the least, and I think I needed this afternoon with this very special chap, and I can't wait to put him back together again and get him home. So thank you very, very much to everybody, and we shall see you very, very soon.